What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I want to talk about the top 10 knives of 2019 that have piqued my interest. I wanted to wait until after Blade Show was over to make this list, so some of the stuff on this list, some of these pictures are going to be stuff that was announced at Blade Show, and some of this stuff you guys are already going to have been aware of. It's not really like exclusive to Blade Show, but these are all knives that I'm very interested in for 2019. Also, this is not a guarantee that all of these knives will appear on my channel. I mean, if I get an opportunity to review one, absolutely. But not all of them are going to appear. Some of them, but not all of them. I'm going to start off, as usual, with a couple of honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list. This first picture here is of the Sebenza 31. That's the newest, It's a new Sebenza 21, essentially. I think it's been 10 years since Chris Reeve has actually updated the Sebenza. So this new Sebenza, you can see there, it looks like he's got a new style of overlay, which is really intriguing. It looks really, really nice on that. Covers about 80% of the knife, but a lot of the titanium is left exposed there on the backside, if you can see it. This was the best picture I could find, by the way. But the new Sebenza 31 has the ball bearing lock face that you find on a lot of his other knives. That's interesting. A lot of people were kind of disappointed that there was no other real update to the knife, but honestly, on a Sebenza, I mean, is there much to update? Is there a lot that it needs? I mean, there's a lot that people want it to be. I mean, I'm sure people want to see it on bearings and M390, but then it's just conforming. I feel like the Sebenza design is really, really good, and I think that the ball bearing lock interface is a welcome upgrade to it. So I think that's really interesting, and it definitely deserving of the honorable mention spot. Next up, the other interesting thing that didn't quite make my list is the new Hinderer Balisong. This thing is called the Nieves. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Apparently, the name comes from Captain Nieves Fernandez, the only known female Philippine guerrilla leader who aided U.S. troops and revolutionary forces during World War II. Obviously, I'm reading that off of this other phone that I've got here to the left, but I didn't know that. That's interesting. I think what's really interesting about this to me is the fact that it's a butterfly knife that is offered by Hinderer Knives. I never, ever saw that coming. Really, really cool. I think the price on these is about $400 or $410? It's titanium and S35 VN. It's huge. It's like 10 inches. I ripped these from Instagram. Here's some pictures of some custom offerings that were shown at Blade Show. Really, really like those anodization colors, hoping that that's somewhat of a hint of what's to come for Hinderer Knives in general in 2019 and beyond. So that's pretty cool. Again, very deserving of honorable mention. Probably I'm a little biased. Probably that one's in there just because I'm a Hinderer fan. I mean, I'm not a Balisong fan at all. I just think it's bizarre and interesting that Hinderer did that. So, anyways, let's move on to my true top 10 here. First knife up is the Fox Radius. They call it that because of this deployment mechanism. You can see this cutout right here. The way that you deploy it, you actually slide that stud from the closed position to the open position around here. That's interesting. This actually won the main award at Blade Show for 2019. Off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what's that called. Is it say right now? It just says Fox Knives on theirs. But this was the knife that won the main award at Blade Show. Now, for that reason, and for the odd deployment mechanism, that's why it's making the first number 10 spot on my list. Other than that, I don't find the look of it all that appealing. If I got a chance to handle one, I would definitely be interested in taking a look at it. But I think definitely deserving of my number 10 spot here. Let's go ahead and move on. Of course, the Spyderco Native Chief. So this is basically, in my opinion, this is a skinnier, pointier Spyderco Native that has been elongated. I really like the blade shape. I love that they kept the general theme of the Native, that forward choil, the lockback. That's just a plain interesting knife. I think these knives can be purchased for about $155? I think it's about $155. I'm not 100% for sure there, but it is something that I would be interested in getting my hands on and taking a look at some point. Sorry, I'm just making sure my camera angle is good. Moving on here at number, let's see, we're at number 8, the Civivi Duras. Is that how you pronounce that? I just realized I'm getting my fan a little bit in the shot here, so we're going to move forward a little bit. Getting some glare there, sorry about that. The Civivi Duras is a small knife, a small sort of heavy duty or chunky knife that's being offered by Civivi. I shouldn't use the word chunky. They specifically talked about that. This is a light, small budget EDC that has more of a feeling of heft and rigidity about it. So I'm definitely interested in that. Of course, love the blade shape, love the forward choil. Looks like there's some meaningful traction on the G10 scales. I'm hoping that's D2 or whatever they decided they were moving to. I mean, it'd be awesome if it was D2. I think I remember seeing the price tag was like $70. I think that's a little bit high, but I don't know. I might pay that to check it out. Moving on here to number 7. This is the Synchro Integral. Now, this knife wasn't announced at Blade Show. It was announced a while back. This is a S35VN and titanium integral on bearings. Now, this is kind of, I have this prediction that like we're going to see this explosion of integral knives coming out of these really high-end Chinese companies. And, maybe this one's $300 right now. We might start to see them for $250 or maybe even $200 down the road as basically the process for creating these becomes less expensive. But this is intriguing because it's a very basic looking design, very straight handle, very straight blade. And honestly, it looks very utilitarian and it looks like something that wouldn't have a huge footprint in your pocket. So I would really like to get my hands on one of those at some point. Next up, we have the Steelwill Tasso with the anti-lock. I'm intrigued by this knife basically just by how it looks. It looks very simple, very straightforward. You have that, I guess it's kind of like a drop point, clip point, harpoon thing. I'm not really sure what you call that blade shape, but it looks like a great blade shape. There's a nice finger choil there. The anti-lock looks very interesting. I love how the Contour G10 looks. Looks like it'll also be lightweight, and I want to say it's about they say it's 8.14 inches overall. That's perfect for me. Really, really like the look of that knife. Moving on, I'm sure you guys could guess that this one was going to be in the video. The new Praetorian Swift. It's essentially I thought this was a good picture because it shows it up against the Smooth Criminal. I think that's what that is. And I think that might be a Praetorian G. I can't remember. I'm not really sure. I don't think that's a full-size one. It might be. But, yeah, you know what? I think it is, considering the size of the Smooth Criminal. So the one on the bottom is a full-size Praetorian. So it's still a pretty big knife. You know how big the Praetorian is. I want to say the Praetorian's 8 3/4 inches overall, putting this at about 8 1/4. So it's a sort of not quite as fat or tall Praetorian. Instead of titanium scales, it's aluminum and it's automatic. That looks pretty cool. It's still going to be expensive, but they are, as far as I understand, they're still made all in-house. So all USA made, all that good stuff from Medford. So that definitely looks interesting to me. Moving on here to the next one. Now this again was not announced at Blade Show. It was just something that I saw here recently and I was like, oh man, I love how that looks. This is the Berg Blades Slim. Berg Blades is somebody that I just this year became familiar with, or not really even familiar, I just became aware of them. Now these were available, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, are these produced by We or Ria? I want to say they're produced by We. So they're not made in the United States, but they do have a reasonable price tag on them. And you also get that design that's kind of like a short, stubby knife that's got a big cleaver-looking blade, and it's got the thumb hole opener. This particular version has titanium bolsters and what appears to be a reddish-brown micarta. That's a really handsome look. Love how the pivot collar looks. I'm a huge fan of that blade shape and the thumb hole. Absolutely. Here's another picture of the same knife with another knife from Berg Blades called, I think that's actually the Iron Pup. There's a bigger one called the Iron Wolf. Apparently those have been around for a while too. I didn't know about that. I think all of the stuff that's coming out from Berg Blades looks incredibly interesting, and I would love to get my hands on something like that. That might be something that I actively pursue. We'll see. Moving on here to third from last, the Evo Typhoon. This is just a good looking knife, and these have already blown up all over the knife world. Everybody's already aware of them. I love how they look. I chose a picture of a smooth monochromatic one to show you guys. Really like the shape of the flipper tab. It looks like it'd be very comfortable to flip. I also like this groove up here at the top, and kind of this, It's more of a Japanese style Tanto where it's got the belly up there on the flat, but I really, really like how that looks. There's another picture of one I like even more that's got some texturing on the titanium. This is actually a great picture because it's up against the Wii Synchro Integral and the, is it the Arius? Is that what that is? Koennig Aria? Yeah, that's what that is. Great picture. So it looks like a full-size knife, something that I would really, really, really like. A lot of the main reviewers on YouTube have already taken a look at that knife, talked about it. I think people really like it. So that's enough for me. You know, it's visually attractive, and it's something that a lot of people seem to like. Yeah, I definitely would like to get my hands on that. So the last two here, second to last, something I think you guys knew that I would be very excited about. The Kaiser XL Sheepdog. I had a hard time not putting this at number one. I handled the Mini, and I loved it. I love the blade shape. I'm a big fan of that cleaver-looking blade. I've never handled the one in the middle, but I'm going to skip it because from the way it sounds is that the Kaiser XL Sheepdog, and there's already been like a run of them released, and I completely missed it. I'm kicking myself for that because I would love to have shown it on this channel. But the thing's gigantic. It weighs like 8.5 ounces. It's like, what is that, like 9 or 9.25 inches? Oh, I don't know. It's huge. And it's steel liners, G10 and 154 cm steel for $100. I can do that. That sounds awesome. I am all in. I am gonna get one of those on this channel. Absolutely, I'm gonna keep it for myself because I just really want that. I guess we're moving on to the last one. I was gonna do that thing where I build up the Attrex and I'm like, all right, here we go, number one, guys. But I slipped and I'm showing it now. So a lot of you guys are gonna know this is the Chavez 229. I used to have a 228 mid-tech, and then, you know, the person who bought that from me was Scott Whittington from USA Made Blade. And I'm kicking myself for having got rid of it because it was this thick, chunky thing with 187,000 stock thick blade, big, chunky titanium. It had that cool skull clip on it, had the awesome blade shape, looked really, really similar to this, but it did not have the steel lock bar insert, and it was S35VN steel. This new one has those two things, and there's a forward choil on it, or some of the models will actually have the forward choil. I am super excited about this knife. I think they're a lot less expensive than the full USA produced ones that I purchased however long ago. The one that I bought was about $500. I think these are going to be substantially less money. I'm really, really excited about these. The next few pictures are actually from Instagram. They're from Fanatic Edge, and I just wanted to show these a little bit. He went ahead and put some texturing on one, and you guys know that, you know, like micro texturing on titanium is something that I really, really like. It's, you know, you've seen that titanium scale on my XM18. You guys know how much I like that. So seeing this, oh my gosh, that is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. That new hyper aggressive Tanto. I don't normally like Tantos, but I really like that. That big generous choil in the front and that texturing on the titanium. That should be something that he does. I don't know if everybody likes how that looks, but I love that. I think that looks amazing. I'll show you guys another couple of pictures here. Oh man, that is beautiful. I don't know that I have any more pictures on that. I think that's all of them, but I think this is about an 8-inch overall folding knife. Maybe, yeah, it looks to be about an 8-inch folding knife. Thumb stud deployer only, but I've handled one, and they're super ergonomic, and they're just that big, you know, overbuilt tank feeling. So that coupled with the new lock bar insert and M390, I am very, very excited about that. So sorry again about the picture quality of this today, guys. I'm getting a weird glare on it, but in any case, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you at least found it entertaining. If you did, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive. So take a look at that stuff. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.